Wild Girls Gone Sober! Oh my god, it's been 1,000 years. We miss you all so much. I'm Amy, an alcoholic.
Now we're going to start again. I'm Lindsay and I'm an alcoholic, and thanks for joining us. We haven't been here in a while, even actually here.
Yeah, we're back to our old stomping grounds for a minute because
we just had to adapt as everyone's having to do.
The whole world is closed right now, so that's all right.
So we're going to do this episode in a two-part series because it's just been forever, and we've got part two we're going to save for our COVID-19 stories, success stories, not success stories.
Yeah, there's just so much to talk about, so.
Yeah, so why don't you kick it off, Amy, because you just celebrated.
I did! I just celebrated 6 months, although I didn't really get to celebrate in person because of the Rona. But I posted in a Women of AA Facebook group that I'm pretty active in, and so I made myself a virtual 6-month chip, and I put it up online, and I got all my yays and congratulations and support from our sober sister crew. And I was excited, but it was funny. I was thinking about it, and I don't think I was as excited about 6 months as you were, which was kind of a flip-flop for us because I was super jazzed to get to 90 days. That was huge for me. And I remember you saying, like, when I get to 6 months, that's going to be, like, that's such a milestone. And I was kind of like,
yeah.
Like, and maybe I would have felt differently about it if I was going to a meeting and celebrating and picking up a chip. I don't know. But I felt like I kind of forgot where I was for a long time. Like, I've reached that point where I almost forget to look at the app and see where I'm at and see what my progress is. It's kind of become the new normal that I just don't drink, and it's funny. It's funny. Like, I will. It's not that I'm not excited for the milestones, but I wasn't super disappointed not to be going to pick up my chip. Like, at some point when things resume normalcy, I will pick up an actual chip.
Like, excuse me, you have a 6, 7, 8, 9.
I'm backdated. I want some chips. Yeah. Oh, I didn't think about that. But it's good. It's been a journey for sure, and it's got its highs and lows. Today's kind of a funky, weird day. Like, I had a weird emotional meltdown today, and I talked to my sponsor on the way here to meet you, just because, I check in most days. And my meltdown didn't have anything to do with drinking, but I was definitely, like, my emotional sobriety or my emotional balance is definitely a little off. Like, I'm feeling a little stressed and a little wonky, and I was saying to her, like, I'm having this, like, mega meltdown, and I'm telling her about, all the drama that was going on that was making me kind of freak out, and I cried today, which got me, then I'm pissed that I cried, because I hate that, and, because it was, like, frustrated cry, and then I'm like, oh, I hate her, it makes me look like such a girl, and,
fucking feelings.
Fucking feelings. And so I'm telling her all about that, and I was like, and this is not my normal. She's like, no, you have been remarkably upbeat and positive and whatever, so you were kind of due. So
for that, like, cycle of emotion.
Yeah, to just, like, have a dump, I guess, like, a crying, emotional dump. That's gross.
No, I feel the same way. I think it's different for counting when you're in. I mean, we're still early. Like, I can't wait to just get a year and be like, ding.
Yeah.
But I think it's important. I think looking at the app the other day, I was feeling a little distant from AA with everything going on, and I did look at my app and I was like, oh shit, look at all that money.
Yeah.
Look at all that
So
time.
you're what, like 9 months, right? You're like 9 months?
9.5.
Ooh, girl, closing in. Yeah.
Could have had a baby.
Ooh.
That's the only thing I can relate 9 months
Okay,
to.
yeah, all right. Okay, good.
Because I used to send Pat these, like, funny messages, like, got 99 problems, got 99 days, or something, like, just funny about the days, like, 100 days. And it's the only thing I can relate 9 months to. But
Okay, well, I'm glad that wasn't why you weren't drinking.
no, God, no. Okay, so you want us one nugget you've taken away from 3 months to 6 months?
One? Good grief.
Because, okay, let me just interject for 1 second.
Lead the
To
witness.
me, you have grown more in the past 3 months than since I've known you, like, through the whole journey. Like, I think it's been, like, I'd say, like, the last 2 months since you started getting back into the barn. I think that's when all the puzzle pieces put together for you.
That's a
So-
good topic. Yeah, we can talk about that a little bit. So I don't know how much we've talked about that in the past, in previous episodes, but I'm a horse girl, and part of my, losses from drinking was I got a DUI, and my car insurance went through the roof. If you're one of us who has had a DUI, it, like, financially it's crushing. And so
try the second one.
I had to, I can't even imagine. So because of that, I had to give up my horse. And I know it sounds like champagne problems, so I don't really talk about it because I feel like people are gonna be judgy, like, oh, I had to give up my horse. How terrible, Buffy. But honestly, it's like the one thing that I always wanted in my life. Like, I wanted a horse since I was 7 years old, and I can't explain that feeling for me. Like, it's a part of who I am, it's part of my soul. I worked really hard my whole life to do it. I bought my first horse when I was 21 and worked 3 jobs to be able to afford it, and like, that's always been how it's been for me. And to then, have to lose that as a result of my actions was crushing. Like, and the horse that I had to give up was like my kid. So it was really a huge piece of the emotional component of the penalties of my drinking. And I didn't stop drinking right away. I kept drinking for another 2.5 years before it was enough. And part of my really, I think, bad spiral of drinking, and when it got really bad, was I was bitter and I was resentful and I was upset about having to give up my horse, and in my family dynamic, it was very painful, and I was very angry about it for a long time. So that has shifted. So my therapist actually was like, I think you need to get back to riding, because it comes up a lot. It's clearly a part of who you are. It's clearly a part of your world. And so I did, and I went to a brand new barn where I didn't have any connections, because there was also some like emotional connection to the barn that I used to ride at, and some amends to be made there too, because the person that I was with when I got the DUI rides at that barn and keeps her horse at that barn, and really helped me through that process. And I don't know that I was very grateful, and there were a lot of components to it. But anyhow, because I was still a victim, I was blaming everybody. Like, why did you let me leave your house after I was drinking all day with you? Like, she poured it down my throat and kicked me out the door,
Right.
So
everyone just forced you to drink
that
bottle of champagne.
So anyhow, so she encouraged me to go back, and it is amazing how much it like completes me as a person, and just like grounds me and stabilizes me emotionally. And it's been good for me at home, because I've had a different relationship with Snow and Tori, because I now feel differently, and and I want to have that in my world again. I want to buy another horse. I want to be able to do that. So those things are all coming, and I see hope for those things. No, I know we had a garbage truck going by or something.
No, it's there's a hospital, a local hospital.
It's a helicopter?
So it's been going off a lot, because in the mornings when I jog around, working from home life, but when the helicopters have been a lot, so I don't know if people are getting just
med-flighted for Rona?
Well, for who knows, But you can hear the sound a lot more, because it's right behind where I live, so.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyhow, so
that has been great for me. Yeah, I've been really back in that whole environment, being outside, being at the barn, being around other horse people. Like, I can't explain why it's so therapeutic for me, but it's like, my people, my home, like, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, it's been
and I love that. And I don't mean to get down a rabbit hole, but since it is 6 months, I will say, like, your first 3 months were just a lot more challenging than my first 3 months for me. I think it was like my second 3 months that were the most challenging. But so I've been seeing a lot, because we're on these like chats and stuff, and I don't participate as much as I should. But a lot of them are people that are newly getting sober. And I know this was something that I don't know, it's maybe a little personal, but like, you had a sweet tooth, right? And I've been seeing all these people like, I'm eating. And now you're down 20 pounds, you look fantastic, you get barn. So when I say all these pieces are coming together, it's like things get better. Like, it's like that grateful alcoholic type of thing that nobody really understands. And
Right in the beginning, you want to like punch everybody in the face for like, oh, I'm a super grateful alcoholic. And you're like, whatever, I'm fucking miserable right now. Yeah, like I'm fucking miserable right now, just trying not to drink every day. Yeah, no, that definitely changes, and I feel like I participate a lot in that Facebook group. Like I'm commenting on people's posts, and I'm posting and sharing things that I think are helpful. And that is, I find myself saying what I heard people saying in the beginning. So it's true. Like it gets easier, it gets better. The shit that is gone from your world today because of your drinking can come back. Like if you just stay the path and just have a little faith that none of us are lying to you. Like there's no benefit in us bullshitting you.
Right.
It does get better. It really does. And it does get easier. And I think, so I needed tools, right? Because a lot of my drinking was coping with feelings or not coping with feelings. And so I needed tools. I needed escapes. I needed a replacement. And when I first started going to AA, before you were going with me, but when I first started going, I remember telling somebody, the ladies, like the little gaggle, I know I miss them. I remember telling them like, oh, I'm doing Weight Watchers. They were like, oh, don't be dieting right now. And I was like, no, I don't want to be like a fat sober chick. But they were right. It was too much for me. It wasn't for you. You had a different perspective. You've always been pretty health conscious, and so you were in your normal mode. I have always had a weight problem, and
I've always had weight struggles, just with the insecurity and what drinking is from.
Right. So I needed tools. I needed something else to attack or to take my mind off of or whatever when I was having those emotional moments. And so the chocolate really, because I mean, chemically speaking, scientifically speaking, chocolate does have a similar effect on your body to what alcohol does early. Not what alcohol does later, but what alcohol does early, where like you have the serotonin dump and all these other things, and sugar, and alcohol is sugar, and so
you're not going to get a DUI from eating chocolate.
You're not, and honestly, I gained some weight, and I was kind of pissed because I was like, really? I stopped fucking drinking like 2 bottles of wine a day, and it should be falling off me. Like, what is this? And I was mad. But I let myself off the hook for a little while, and I ate my feelings for a little bit, and so just after Christmas, the day after Christmas, I went back on Weight Watchers, which it's doable. It doesn't make it so you can't have anything. Like I can still have a piece of chocolate if I need a piece of chocolate. I just have to figure it in. So I started the day after Christmas, and it's now April 1st. Ooh, April Fool's Day. It's April Fool's Day. Hey. And I'm down like 18 pounds. So, but I did it when I could do it. Like I feel like it's been easy because I was ready. Just like I didn't quit drinking till I was ready, right? Same thing. Like
you weren't ready.
I think I was ready to stop when I finally stopped. Like I was recognizing. I was at that point where staying where I was more uncomfortable than changing.
But now forever doesn't seem as scary, right? Because at first, to me, the forever seems like the scariest. Like I was sitting in that AA meeting with you the first time, and I just thought, fuck, this is forever. Like this is forever. Like I cannot go back. And now that I have so many amazing just aspects of my life that make me feel so fulfilled and this peace and calmness, even with all the chaos going on, like I can't emphasize enough how happy I am to be sober through it. Even on shitty days, or like this morning when I called you all crazy, not drinking like forever, like that doesn't even remotely sound as challenging as it did the first 3 months, or until really the first 100 days, because that's when I started going to AA, and that's when I was like, oh shit.
Right. I won't tell you that seems any less daunting to me. I still struggle. I still have moments where I think, really? I'm never going to drink again? Like, I still have that. I still think, like, oh, I'm going to go on a vacation to Italy and I'm not going to get to drink wine on the wine tour. Like, I could let myself go down that road and I would struggle with it. So I'm somebody who has to practice that just today. Like, I have to practice it. I can't think ahead, and I still have moments where I want to fucking drink. I do, I was talking about the golf tournament I played in recently, St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day used to be one of our favorites, right?
Yeah.
Right? One of our favorites.
That Irish girl, definitely.
And everybody else is like, oh, it's amateur hour. I'm like, whatever, I enjoyed it. I played in a golf tournament on St. Patrick's Day, and I would have liked to have drank, and I had some fleeting thoughts of like, well, nobody would know. I had moments of that I had to like reel myself in and be like, no, not okay. Like,
so did you feel that? Because we didn't really feel that when we went on a golf tournament a while back. It's because we were together. So did you feel that because it was like, the environment of golfing, if you're a golfer and you're an alcoholic and you like to party and get down, it's just something that like comes over you when you're out in that fresh air.
Right.
Cold, ice cold, whatever.
Breakfast beer.
Yeah. Breakfast ball, breakfast beer.
Yeah, I think it was the people I was with. So it was someone that I don't know crazy well. Like, I call him a friend, but I really know him through networking and other stuff. And there were two of those people, and then the person who invited me, it was his cousin played with us. And so it was 3 dudes and me, and they were great. Like, they were all great. But, you know, the guy who was the leader of the crew showed up with his, you know, Yeti full of vodka something, and didn't know I wasn't drinking. And I didn't know he didn't know. Like, I forget who I've told. And I want to come back to that. I actually want to talk about that because I read something last night that was really interesting about telling people. But he showed up with his Yeti of booze, which is exactly what I would have done. And he was like, oh, you want to, you know, whatever, mimosa, whatever he had. And I was like, no, I'm good. And he was like, what?
You?
Right, because it's me. And I was like, yeah, I stopped drinking. I don't drink now. And he was like, was it, and then he mentioned the Hoax Out Golf Tournament. Apparently he was there. I don't remember that, but I believe it.
That was the previous golf tournament, and you got trashed out before she stopped.
Well, it was like the 2-week beginning of the end.
Right.
That was like that was the start, because I had not drank for like 3 weeks, and then that was my like, I was like, I'm getting fucked up with this tournament.
Yeah.
Like, I was planning to get wasted, and then So I've talked about that one a bit, but anyway, but he was like, oh, was it the Hoax on Golf Tournament? I was like, well, actually, yeah, that was kind of the beginning of the end, and whatever. And so we had some conversation about it, and it was funny because, like, he pushed a little bit, and I was like, no, I'm good. Like, my resolve was there, but I was like, oh man, I'm like, no, I could have just like snuck it.
So you didn't feel like, hey, good for me for saying no? You like,
yeah, I mean, no, I felt good at the end of the day that I didn't have anything, and then, you know, later when they had a lunch afterwards, and, you know, the awards and all that, and we were all sitting at the table, and they all kind of started asking questions, like, so, like, forever? Like, how long are you doing this sober thing? And I said, oh, probably forever. And he was like, oh, are you, like, going to AA? And, like, it's funny, the questions people ask, and sometimes I think it's super rude, sometimes I don't. Like, I didn't feel like it was super rude that time, maybe because we're friends, and he wasn't asking in a dick way, but there have been times where people have asked that question that I think, like, who the fuck are you? Like, that you're just rude. Why would you ask someone something so personal? Like, I just said I'm not drinking. You don't need details.
Right. Or when someone's like, well, you didn't drink that much.
Yeah,
you don't need to go to AA. Well, just tell me what else I need to do.
Right. Well, you didn't see me drinking before I met up with you so that I could make sure I drank enough to then not look like I drank so much in front of you. Like, you don't quite get it. But I'm reading a book right now called The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober. And I think it's a little bit like Sober Diaries, which I loved. I loved the Sober Diaries. And this girl actually talks a lot about Unwasted, which you read, right? Didn't you read Unwasted? I haven't read that yet. That's next on my list.
I have read so many alcoholic books and so many like self-help leadership books. And then the other day, a couple of my girlfriends I was like, all right, let's start a book club. So we picked a fiction book, which is actually weird because they're making a series out of it on Netflix. Just to that. But, and I read it, and I so thoroughly enjoyed it. The last 2 sober books I've read, I haven't quite agreed with. They don't shame talk AA, but they talk about it in a way that's very judgy and a little condescending, and I think that those type of books are going to be hurtful for people to read that are just starting.
Yeah.
And so when I read that, it was like, I was listening to it because I do the Audible.
Sorry, gang, we had a little technical difficulty, so we're doing a little edit to get us back on track. It's too bad because the last 20 minutes were amazing. So We'll see what this 20 minutes
Sure.
is like.
So where we left off, I was just saying that the 2 books that I had previously listened to on Audibles, which is a great tool for listening to books, they were just really like, I didn't think that they were a positive example of, I felt like they just kind of shamed a little bit, and I don't think that people that are newly sober, I think you should stick to the classics.
Yeah.
And Seltzer Squad has a really good list. I've actually listened to almost all their books. That they have as a
I was going
resource.
to pipe up in here, and I didn't, but I will this time.
Okay.
I think that there's a lot of different thought processes out there about AA, not AA. Like, there's a million resources, but I think for getting some solid basics down and having a ton of support early on, I do think it's the way to go. Like, I don't know if we'll AA forever, I don't know, but I think it's definitely the way to go if you're early. Like, there's just so much support, and genuinely, it's like, keep it simple, sweetie. It's like really easy concepts to stick to and grasp. But anyhow, sorry.
No, that's all you were telling me about the book, and then
So I'm reading this book, The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober. And one of the things she talks about is, there's a lot of different thought processes on being open and honest, and your anonymity, and that's something that I experienced in my home group, having some discussion about protecting your anonymity, protecting other people's anonymity. And I agree with her thought process, which is she's very open. She says she doesn't drink because she drank too much, and we'll talk about AA if people push down that road. And I think there's a lot of reasons like that protects you from people who are pushers to some degree. So if they know you stop because you have a problem, like, they're just a monster if they keep pushing you to drinks.
Turn around and run away.
Yeah, like what kind of scumbag does that? But if you're doing and again, there's no right or wrong to this. Some people are at a place where they're not comfortable saying it, they're not comfortable putting it out there, and so they're still doing the antibiotics, whatever other, I'm on a diet, I'm on this, I'm doing that, whatever excuses to not drink. But I'm being very open and honest about my reason for not drinking being because I am an alcoholic and I drank too much. And people's response typically when I say I've stopped drinking, I get a lot of like, oh, good for you. And I'm like, it's good for everybody.
I love that line.
It's good for everybody, trust me. And one of the things I was saying before is I feel like there are probably a lot of people in our age group, young professionals, 30s and 40s, who probably do have a problem and maybe recognize they have a problem on some level, maybe don't yet, maybe it hasn't impacted their life enough for them to want to stop yet. But I think by being an example of it's not a stigma, it's not a bad thing, I'm getting better, I'm getting healthy, I'm taking steps to improve my life, that's nothing for me to feel shamed or embarrassed by. I feel like I'm opening the doors or paving the pathway for other people like us to not be afraid to say, shit, I think I have a problem. I think I need some help. And have someone they know that maybe they can approach and feel comfortable getting some help with. So that was the big wraparound to this.
I love it, and I don't know how you redo it, but part of you, like you saying that, and I think it, depending on where you are in your beginning stages, or if you're right off the bat comfortable, like, hey, I'm an alcoholic, don't offer me shit, type thing.
Right.
Like for me, I think I just said, oh, I'm just not drinking right now, and I think it's okay if you're using excuses or whatever, and they're not excuses, they're just avoiding an uncomfortable situation, which you will learn how to get through as you process it more. And I'm sure we'll be able to handle a lot more things.
And everybody's different.
Right.
Everybody's different. Your social circle might be different than our social circle. You might work in an environment where it could hurt you for people to know that you have a drinking problem. Or, everybody's different. And then there's the fear of relapse, what if I've told people and then I relapse, or what if I decide I'm not drinking forever, those are scary things to contemplate, but it is my goal not to drink again, so it does hold me accountable to be honest and open with people, and that in turn is protecting my sobriety.
It is. Because that was a big issue you had at first too, right? And
I kept it a secret just in case.
Just in case. I don't know about her. But for me, it's like I have not been myself for the last 33 years. and being able to be a little bit more open and honest about who I am, because it is actually who I am. So all that drinking of trying to figure out who I was, and now it's just a different, clearer journey of figuring out who I am. And I think by kind of being honest with the world, you're being honest with yourself, and it's just it's just better for like your soul. I know that sounds super cheesy, but it just, you're like, God, how many lies have we told, or gray lies, or omitted the truth, and it feels really good to lead a life, like you were saying, that you don't have to wake up and be sorry for anything.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about being a woman with integrity, or being a person of integrity, and early on, when I was first going to AA, you can only absorb so much. You can only,
take the nuggets you need and leave the rest.
Well, and I think at different stages you can only hear certain things. Like in the very beginning, like all I could hear was like, just don't drink today, just keep coming back to meeting. Just don't drink today, just keep coming back to meeting. Like that's all I could digest. Everything else people said was like, blah, bitty, blah, blah, blah. Like it was in one ear and out the other. I couldn't handle any of it. But there was a woman who said, what was it? I said she was a woman of integrity, and I heard it, and it clearly filed it away back there somewhere, but it didn't mean anything to me, or I couldn't process exactly what that meant, or I couldn't picture myself feeling that way, because at the time I felt like a giant piece of shit. Like, it was early, I felt like a failure, I felt like a failure as a wife, as a mom, as in life, at drinking, like everything.
And what do I say? Don't talk about my friend
like that. So I felt like a giant piece of crap, and so to hear somebody say, like, I feel like I'm a woman of integrity, and to have that kind of confidence, like, I just couldn't even, it was just such a disconnect between that and where I was. And now I'm like, oh, I get that. Like, I get that. I don't feel bad about myself on a regular basis. Like, I still have my stuff. I still have my insecurities, and that was part of my meltdown today, was my insecurity, my wanting everybody to like me, my wanting people to feel like I do a good job. That was what all that was this morning. But I don't wake up worried about what I said or did, not sure what came out of my mouth or how I behaved, worrying that I have to apologize for something I don't remember. Like,
gathering your stuff, right? Where's my phone, my purse, my wallet?
Right.
Where is that?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Did all those things come up?
I'm scared to look at your phone.
Yeah.
That made me cringe.
But I think that's the integrity part. It's like, I do the things I do aware and awake and fully conscious, and I'm making clear decisions, and there is an integrity that comes along with that, and I do get to feel better about myself because of that. So it's just funny, the things that you heard early on that now make sense, and I think we said this already, but it gets easier and it gets better, and that's hard to hear in the beginning, because you're like, oh, unicorns and rainbows, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm really fucking grateful to be an alcoholic, whatever. But it really does get easier, and you start to digest these things as you go on, and you're like, I really do feel better about that.
Or you, like, sometimes because they have all these, like, sayings on the wall, and sometimes I will, like, you read them when you're sitting in there, and lately every time I've gone, I've been a little, like, edgy when I've been there, and I don't know what phase that means for me. Like, I'm not sure what that really means. That's a whole other episode, but, I think that, sometimes it's like, even the other day I was like, all right, easy does it. And I was like, what the fuck did I just say? Like, easy does it? And they just start making more sense, just as you experience it and you live it, and it becomes part of your world. Even in a lot of the books that I read, the people that don't go to AA anymore still use their phrases and that kind of like foundation that they built there.
Well, what's wicked funny? So I said I'm doing Weight Watchers, right? And there's a whole online community of Weight Watchers, and so I'm
sure that's fun.
Well, it's really motivating, because like, when you see someone post they've lost like 150 pounds, and you see their before and after picture, like, they look amazing. But it's good. It's a good. I like being connected to people, so that social piece of it is good for me. But like, I'll be scrolling through there, and I have to chuckle because there's so much of it that's so similar to AA. It's hilarious. Like, people use all the same phrases and all the same stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess it's kind of like Overeaters Anonymous, right?
Right.
So, which exists and I don't know anything about, but I'm assuming it's the same idea, same concept. So it's just kind of funny because I'm like, oh, it's. And I see a lot of people post about being sober in there too.
Oh,
and I'm like, yeah, go sober
Woo!
Weight Watchers.
I could see you like putting in on a little podcast. Amy gets banned for
Put
Weight
our
Watchers.
link in. I know. I don't know if I can.
So we were talking about, just to kind of circle back, we're talking about just kind of telling people about being sober, right? Like your story about
Right.
kind of having to tell everybody at the golf tournament. And I had a similar, not similar situation, but a situation where I found it a little bit easier to tell people, where I'm at a new job and I was out of town 3 weeks ago,
Right.
over 3 weeks ago. I went to New York to work a trade show, and I'm on my just little health
I made
hazard.
her quarantine before I would see her face.
She wouldn't see me.
I wouldn't. I was like, I love you. I'm not upset with you, but I don't want to see your face.
I had to corner you, and I was like, all right, what the fuck?
I know you're so cute.
So okay, so today's my
Week
week three back from New York.
Yeah.
So I'm great. I feel good. I know I can still be a silent carrier and all that good stuff, but I've been really staying at home and like working from home and everything, so I'm good. But anyway, so when I was there for work, and I was working a trade show, and I was really nervous to meet everybody because I want everybody to like me and.
Right. Well, and it's like a
Serious
brand
shit.
new job. You've been
Oh,
there
yeah.
like a month and a half.
Yeah. And so, and at that time I was like, I wasn't even there a month when I was
Right.
doing a trade show
Right.
with these people, and they're, expense to fly from
Yeah,
Florida
you
to
were
New
like
York.
2-3 weeks in. Yeah.
And so I remember walking up and I was like all nervous, and so we were at like a restaurant show, and so the strip our booth was on was at all the like alcohol tastings.
Yeah, I
you
didn't
do.
know any of this.
Yeah.
This is the first time I.
So we were in
heard
this like red carpet section, and so you had to like be 21 to get through. So I'm like, that didn't bother me at all because it's all. I'm kind of like not shaken by that stuff currently.
Right.
It is very easy to slip back in and get shaken up by it. But so, anyways, we go to dinner after a long day of staying on your feet for like 9-10 hours, and it's in this jam-packed restaurant in New York City, and the whole experience was really super fun and exciting. And they're getting a round of drinks while we're all standing at the bar, all squished up with our book bags and like long day, and our feet hurt, and they were like, "What do you want? What do you want?" And everybody's ordering, beer, whatever. So
That all sounds terrible.
I know.
None of that sounded good to me.
well, it was just a bonding experience, like your new team. I love that stuff.
No, that part's good. That part's good.
So I'm like, I wasn't gonna say anything because I didn't want them to accidentally put alcohol in it, because I still have that weird fear that they're gonna like slip something in my drink,
Right.
and it would be too yummy, and my body would be like, oh my god, thank you. But so I was like, you know what, I'm dying of thirst. Let me get a soda and cranberry. And so they got it for me without even like a hesitation. I didn't have to say anything. And the manager guy was like, "Oh, do you just not drink because it's work, or do you, And I was like, "No, I'm just not drinking." And then we ended up sitting back down at the table, and they're all on their like third round of drinks, which I would have been probably pounding faster than them.
Right.
And the waiter knew I was drinking.
Not to mention drinking on the red carpet all day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Free drinks at the trade show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sign me up. I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
This is my aisle.
Of course. So then we were sitting there, and he's like, "So you don't drink like ever?" And I was like, "No." I was like, I haven't drank in about 9.5 months. I was like, it's just better for everybody. And that was like it. And then the next night we went to dinner, and it was our last night there, so that must have been the second night. Everybody was having a beer. It was like we had just been through this like horrific experience of trying to get a restaurant to fit all of us that we could afford with like not overspending the budget, because there's 6 of us, and I was like, and I felt embarrassed to ask for a non-alcoholic beer because that's a whole other subject. But yeah, I just really wanted to be part of the team and cheers. And I got this delicious and the guy walks up, I was like on this end, and the guy walks up to the other end, and he's like, "Non-alcoholic beer," and I was like, "Oh, that's me."
You're like, "Oh, thanks for calling us out."
At first, but then I just owned it. And I was like, "This is delicious." And the other guy was like, "Oh, what are you having?" And they're just like, "Oh, you don't drink?" The one girl was like, "Oh, you weren't drinking the other night? She's like, your drink looked so fun." And I was like, "No." I was like, "It was just soda and cranberry, super fun."
Mm-hmm.
And she almost looked like I had pulled one over her.
Right. You're like, yeah, I wasn't trying to.
So it was just a lot easier to tell a new group of people than people that like have seen. a wild side that I might not even remember, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've felt the same way, like I was saying with my work crew, because like a couple of them have seen me, old Amy, drinking, but like really most of my work people, like we had that conference way back that I talked about that I was just ordering club sodas and nobody batted an eyelash, and the Christmas party, like nobody cared that I wasn't drinking because they're not used to party Amy, who would have been in the swimming pool at, you know, Pirates Cove Resort Marina. Like, oh please, no, I laugh at it because it's so not a resort.
But you were saying something about, you know, like the permission for.
Oh yeah, one of the things, and I think I really just recognized this with the golf tournament with these guys, was I think people liked having me around partly because I was the permission to party, because they weren't going to get as wasted as I was going to get. So if I was there, you know, it was going to be a good time, and you could have a really good time, more so than you normally would, as long as you didn't get as drunk as Amy.
Right.
Because Amy was going to be the shit show.
Oh, you thought I was bad. Wait, you should have seen Amy.
Yeah, and so now that I'm being really open and honest about not drinking and why, it makes them alter their behavior, which at first bothered me. Like, I was like, do what you would do. But what I'm realizing is they aren't comfortable to do what they would do around me because they were comfortable doing it because I was shit-wrecked. Like, it's so interesting. So I was like this bubble of permission to get completely wasted because they wouldn't get as drunk as I would. And now they're altering their behavior, which is great because now I'm hanging out with cool people who are having a couple of drinks, which isn't bothering me. We're actually playing golf and having a good time. Like, we should have won our flight. We came in second place because the doofuses that I was golfing with don't have USGA handicaps.
I don't have one either.
Oh God, we beat you. Anyway,
I know, I just threw away all my old things while I was moving to try to do it, so I need to start a handicap. I know.
So anyway, you get a handicap right off the bat. It's just gonna be like 38. Anyway, not talking about golf that detailed, but all you non-golfer drinkers don't care about it. But they didn't have handicaps. Two of us did. Two people didn't, and so we couldn't count because they were estimating their handicap. So we should have won, which would never have been the case if we were all out there.
No,
Amy wasted. We would have been at the bottom of the pack, just like
we're just the best looking group. We're not award for that.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, so it was a great day, and I think I just feel better being honest about it. Like I'm way more comfortable, and I do think it helps protect my sobriety to just tell people, like, nope, not drinking because I really liked drinking. They know, you know, those people know. They've clearly seen me in action.
Right. Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was all good. So I think at 6 months, I'm in a good place. I still have my moments. We'll talk in part 2 about the struggles of today with the whole Corona crazy. Yeah. But
yeah, so I'm really proud of you, and I'm just glad to be back and to see your beautiful face.
Me too.
And we want to hear your stories. So if you have a story about telling somebody, or how you choose to tell people, if you don't tell people, just shoot us over a Facebook message, or we're working on our website. So when that launches, you will definitely know. But
But we definitely want to create more of an online community, and especially right now, we all need some online support. So post to our Facebook page, message us, whatever. We want to hear from you. Give us some topics maybe you want us to talk about, what we've gone through thus far. We certainly don't think that we're gurus of any kind, but we're happy to share what we have experienced. And I think that's really what our goal is, to just kind of share our journey with you. So hoping that it helps somebody out there.
So shoot us a message and let us know. And you can email us at wildgirlsgonesober@gmail.com. And so we choose to say what is it? Oh.
You can stay sober wherever you are. We're staying sober in paradise.
Got it.
All right, till next time.